Okay, let's dive into a really critical topic in construction safety. We're talking about the switch from that traditional hard hat we all know to the modern Type 2 helmet. And we're going to start with a number that should really make you stop and think. 25%. That's right, traumatic brain injuries are behind a full quarter of all deaths in construction. This isn't just a minor issue, it's a life or death blind spot we need to address. And here is where the old way of thinking really falls short. We've always seen hard hats as a shield against falling tools or materials, but look at the data. That's only 12% of the problem. The biggest danger, by far, comes from slips, trips, and falls, where the impact can come from literally any direction. So here's our game plan. We'll look at that dangerous blind spot, introduce what 360-degree protection really is, tackle the big questions of comfort and cost, give you an implementation playbook, and then talk about setting a new standard for safety. First up, let's talk about that blind spot. The basic hard hat design. It's been around for over a century. And yeah, it was a game changer back then. But the hazards on a modern job site, they've changed a lot. So here's the bottom line. A Type 1 hard hat is designed for one thing. Something hitting you directly on the top of the head. A Type 2 helmet, though? It's designed for the messy, unpredictable reality of a construction site, protecting you from impacts to the top, front, back, and sides. And you can see the difference so clearly right here. On the left, the familiar hard hat. On the right, the Type 2 helmet. You can just see it offers more coverage, it sits lower, and that chin strap. That's the real game changer, making sure it stays put when you need it most. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper and see how this modern design actually translates into features that can save lives. This is what we mean when we say 360-degree protection. Now, this isn't just a hard hat with a strap added on. It is a complete safety system. You've got that high-density foam inside that absorbs force from all angles. The chin strap is integrated so it keeps the helmet secure during a fall. And it's designed to work with all the other PPE you're already using, like visors and hearing protection. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a modern sports helmet. If you've ever worn a helmet for cycling or hockey, you get it. You wouldn't hit the ice with a loose-fitting helmet, would you? So why would we do that on a construction site? It just makes sense. All right, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. Any big change like this brings up some very real practical questions. So let's just tackle the two biggest ones head-on: comfort and cost. This is probably the number one thing we hear. A chin strap all day long in the middle of August? No way. And you know what? It's a totally fair question. Comfort is a huge deal when you're wearing something for 8 or 10 hours straight. But here's what's so interesting. The feedback from the field, from major companies that have already made the switch, it tells a different story. They're finding that once workers get used to them, they actually find them more comfortable than the old hard hats because of the better fit and suspension. Yeah, they're often called climbing-style helmets because that's where a lot of the design inspiration comes from, for staying secure in extreme situations, which, of course, is perfect for all the mountain climbing we do here in Saskatchewan. But jokes aside, that climbing DNA is what makes them so darn effective. Now for the other big question, the budget. And look, there's no way around it. Type 2 helmets do have a higher price tag. As you can see from these examples, you're looking at about double or even triple the cost of a basic Type 1 hard hat. But this is where we have to shift our thinking. This isn't just an expense, it's an investment. When you weigh that extra $30, $50, or even $100 against the incredible cost of just one preventable brain injury, when you factor in WCB, lost productivity, insurance hikes, the math becomes very, very clear. Okay, so the why is pretty solid, but what about the how? How do you actually manage this change across an entire company? Let's get practical with a simple playbook for implementation. You can really break it down into 4 manageable steps. First, build awareness. Use toolbox talks, show them the data. You want buy-in, not just force compliance. Second, develop a plan. Figure out your timeline and budget. You don't have to do it all at once. A great idea is to phase it in, maybe starting with crews working at heights. Third, and this is so important, engage your team. Get a few different models and let the crew try them out. Comfort is everything. And finally, manage the rollout. Have a clear system for purchasing, stocking, and getting these new helmets to every single worker. So let's wrap this all up by looking at the big picture. This transition, it's about more than a piece of gear. It's about setting a new standard for safety culture and, most importantly, protecting your people. For so many company leaders who have already made this change, the motivation is as simple and as powerful as what you're reading right here. It stops being about stats and becomes about knowing that better protection exists and what's at stake if you don't use it. And really, that's the question to leave you with. A job site today is more complex than ever before. The hazards have evolved. The real question is, has your PPE evolved with them?